make it more efficient for everybody to understand. And the great thing about understanding this topic, you're going to see that this self-sabotage, your inability to live your best life, it is not your fault. And I don't say that to make you feel better about the potential dysfunction you have, but you're going to see concretely here, there are forces in play that really profit from you not living your best life. And in this presentation, we're going to take sort of a different approach, a different way to explain it. And we're going to use the bodyguard analogies. And the great thing about self-sabotage, if you do look at it and you do understand it in its totality, it is the greatest love story ever told. I'm not too sure if you're aware that you do self-sabotage because there's two super loving parts of the brain that want to protect you, that want you to be secure and survive. And I've only explained before the subconscious. And I've told you about the subconscious many times. If someone's new here, you're going to get the new explanation today. You're going to get the explanation regarding the subconscious and the conscious mind. Both of these parts of your psyche are by your side. They're like bodyguards, like sentinels. They're always trying to protect you. And that's very important for you to understand, that these two protectors are with you under all the time, but they take turns protecting you. So I want you to meet bodyguard number one. And bodyguard number one is the conscious mind. I'm going to call him Rex. And everybody's, Chris, how does Rex look? He looks pretty capable. What do you think?
Yeah, he looks very put together.
He looks very put together. He's a great protector of you. He's a great security guard. And he has ways he protects you. Now, bodyguard number two, he has ways he protects you as well. They both have their own separate ways. They're both effective defense mechanisms in certain situations. And Rex here, this stud Rex, this is your bodyguard number one, the conscious mind. This is the bodyguard you want on duty at the front door, bouncer position all the time. He'll never let you down. And the way he defends you, he uses the eyes. And it's really important. And I'm going to unveil this eyesight issue. This is a huge issue with self-sabotage, and I'll get there, but just humor me and follow me here. He uses his eyes and he uses his brain. This is his primary defense mechanisms of you, out of this deep-seated love he has for you. So this bodyguard number one uses the eyes and he uses the brain. Very, very important modalities for your protection. It's really important that he scans the full spectrum of your environment. This is where he really puts a lot of effort into protecting you. It's a very simple defense mechanism to understand. I'm not going to overcomplicate it. This part of your body is smart. It's going to look out into your world, see what's out there, and then use the logical and rational functions in the brain to produce logical and rational solutions for you in your life. Very beautiful defense mechanism. So he's charged, Rex, this stud sort of bodyguard, charged with assessing the full spectrum environment, charged with this assessing the full lay of the savannah. This part of your brain does download everything that's happening over the full spectrum through your eyesight. It processes the information logically in the mind. In this logical, higher end, rational brain function, pay attention, it's called beta brainwave state. This is where you're smart. This is where you're not going to be fooled. This is where you're not going to be tricked. It's hard to trick bodyguard number one unless you interfere with his brain, unless you interfere with his eyesight. Very important. These topics are extremely important, understanding why you self-sabotage. Rex, bodyguard number one, manufactures logical solutions. He's our primary bodyguard, the one we want on guard. This is the number one best bodyguard we want on our team, working all the time. Problem. Here's the problem. The people who rule you through the media, and you're going to see this concretely in this presentation, they've studied bodyguard number one, and we'll get to bodyguard number two in a second. They've studied him too. His name is Joe. Bodyguard number one can be taken offline, and if you disrupt his eyesight and you interfere with his brain function, or if Rex has the feeling that he's at a strength disadvantage. And then, like I said, these bodyguards are interchangeable. When Rex off duty, Joe was on duty and he causes some problems. This is bodyguard number two, the subconscious mind. His name is Joe. How does he look, Chris, for defense capability?
Less capable.
Perfect answer. Very politically correct. He comes out secondary when Rex, bodyguard number one, is malfunctioning. These two work in tandem. They're not adversarial to each other. They love you. They want you to be safe. And if Rex is not on his game, if he's not doing his job with his eyes and his brain, there's a metabolic shift that gives the reins of your protection over to Joe here. Now, he comes out when Rex is malfunctioning. He comes out when the eyesight of bodyguard number one is interfered with. What does that mean? Well, we're going to show you what that means, and you're going to start understanding how this world is manufactured and how it's manufactured so that you self-sabotage. He comes out when the mind function of bodyguard number one is interfered with, comes out when Rex doesn't believe he has the 4 pillars of strength. We'll get into what those 4 pillars are. Basically, if Rex believes, okay, I'm not physically, spiritually, mentally, or financially strong enough to battle the foe, Joe comes out to deal with the foe. And Joe has his own defense mechanisms that cause a lot of problems for you, cause a lot of problems in our society. Joe's defense mechanisms are different than Rex's. Rex will table logical and rational solutions. That's great. Joe, on the other hand, he complies with authority. And he goes into what's called alpha brainwave state. Alpha state, if you can believe it, and you're going to believe it in only 15 minutes, is a state of your brain where you do exactly as you're told. This is the way Joe protects you. He finds safety with the bigger herd through mimicking, copying, and mirroring. And this is the natural brainwave state of Joe. This is his natural function. He doesn't have any other capability like Rex. He has the secondary capability. He's still trying to protect you, but he's trying to protect you through you complying with whatever the authority is saying. And he downloads, he's got a lot of bandwidth to execute his defense. He downloads repetitive cues in the environment to see what's acceptable. Now, what's odd about Joe, it's proven he can download repetitive content out of the environment at 11 million pieces of data per second. That does reflect your love. Joe does not, his love for you to protect you. He doesn't want to miss anything. And so Joe looks out into the environment and he's looking for repetitive cues. He's looking for what's most repetitive. And that point is covered at the bottom. He seeks immediate safety in the bigger group by doing, saying, and thinking what the bigger group is doing, thinking, and saying. And he does that through sorting through the environment and looking for repetitive cues. He has no ability to judge long-term consequences of complying, fitting in, or people-pleasing, or going along to get along. Joe is there to get you out of trouble right away, and screw the future. We'll figure it out as we go. Can be a big problem. I'm not too sure if you noticed there's a lot of Joe going on in our society today, but we'll leave that aside. Now, ladies and gentlemen, remember Rex's sort of defenses. Please go back in your mind's eye to that screen. You remember the thing about his eyesight, where you interfere with Rex's eyesight, bodyguard number one. And then do you remember his job was to look over the full savannah. So I want to let you know that when Rex is tricked to look at a single point of attention, a very small point of attention, he has failed his job. And when he fails his job because he's supposed to look over the whole jungle, the whole savannah, the whole spectrum of potential problems in your life. And if he just focuses on one tiny tree, he's failed his job, because that's not his position. His position is to look over everything. So here's a good video of how, number one, in this video, this lady believes she can't be put under hypnosis. And hypnosis is the activation of bodyguard number two. Hypnosis is the controller telling you what to do, okay? And you doing it. So Chris, I'm just going to back up here just a little bit. I'm just going to back up one screen just in case, yes. And this is a very simple 1-minute video. See, it's an ancient trick. It's an ancient trick, black magic trick. You go back in black magic books, there's something called fixing of the gaze. And it can put people into hypnosis. And hypnosis is the activation of bodyguard number two, Joe. And Joe does exactly what he's told. And here we have someone who knows about this technology. All this mentalist or hypnotist has to do is fix the gaze of his victim for a couple seconds and also interfere with the line of sight. You'll see this mentalist brings his hand over the line of sight of his victim, and we see the person, we see bodyguard number one, Rex, he's gone. And we see the replacement, they're both loving you, but do you see the replacement? We see bodyguard number two, we see Joe, and Joe does exactly what he's told, no matter how ridiculous it is. So let's play this video and watch this. Go.
Friends, or why are you here?
I'm going to the bookstore.
Okay. What's your name?
Wayne.
Wayne?
Yeah.
Okay, you look a bit nervous, don't we? What's his name?
This is Spanky.
I'm gonna try something really messed up right now. Okay, but you gotta look direct. Actually, move your shades up so I can see your eyes. Okay, look directly at me, don't say anything at all, okay? I'm gonna just try something right now. Just look, watch. I'm gonna raise the thought of two words right now. I'm gonna raise your name and your dog's name now. What's your name? What's your name? What's your name? What's your dog's name? Is this your dog? What's his name? Why can't you remember his name?
I don't know.
Oh my god!
Okay, look at me. Look at me. It'll come back. 3, 2, 1. What's your name? What's your name?
Wayne.
What's your dog's name?
This is Spanky.
Oh my god! What?
Do you remember what just happened there?
Right?
I have no idea, dude. I have no idea. I have no idea.
All right, take it easy.
What do you just do to me?
So what did you think of that, Chris?
I think it's always shocking to see how quickly these techniques can kind of be put into effect.
Absolutely. So what you could see there, ladies and gentlemen, was a very good demonstration of bodyguard number one failing his charge. He's not supposed to put you at risk by fixing his gaze on one thing. That is a breaking of his protocol. And when he breaks his protocol, you will have bodyguard number two come into play. And he does exactly as he's told. And he was told in that situation to, be one with the authority, to people please, to comply. He had to forget his name. So he actually literally forgot his own name. And this has a lot to do with self-sabotage. We'll definitely get to the point where you understand that you are being controlled in this manner, and the way your society is organized, Your entire day is organized purposely over the last 100 years, so you continually fix your gaze over and over again, where you fixed your gaze maybe 2 hours in 1950. Now you're fixing your gaze 10 hours a day. They're able to tell you what to do, and what they're telling you to do is designed to make you self-sabotage. This is why we're going over these old hypnotic tricks, because these hypnotic tricks are applied to you now 24 hours a day. They're trying to actually make everybody, like this man in the white shirt, make him completely programmable. Chris, I'm going to go to the next one. I'm going to try and go from the current slide. Am I still sharing?
You are still sharing.
Okay. Here's the fixing of the gaze. Again, maybe they want to help. They're allowing you to see this video. I'm not too sure what algorithms they have, but the reason the PowerPoint presentation might not share all videos is that hypnosis is about repetitive knowledge as well. If you don't know how to protect yourself, if you can't see these videos, you can never connect the dots. Another example right here, fixing of the gaze plus strength differential. Please go back to the slide originally with Rex, bodyguard number 1. If Rex doesn't believe he has this physical strength to deal with the threat, he will substitute in bodyguard number 2 that loves you and just protects you in a different way. And he will do as he's told. The strength differential here is all about basically, I hope that, okay. The strength differential here, Chris, do you notice in a lot of hypnotist shows, they're sitting? That man was standing, but these people are sitting.
Yes.
It puts people at a strength differential, which brings bodyguard number 2 to the forefront to protect you. This man as well is behind his victims. Your body is smart enough to know that's extra danger. They could really get a hold of you. And then a lot of hypnotist shows, they'll do deep breathing. They'll do countdowns from 10 to put you in alpha brainwave state, the hypnotic trance. And that's why it's easier to control people that are sitting down. That's why they wanted you sitting down at home during the 2020 disease crisis. And this is why they attack. If you ask a war strategist, they will say, let's attack our enemy at dawn, because when people are just sort of tired or they're just sleepy, they don't have a good defensive stance mentally or neurologically, and bodyguard number 2 is more compliant. If you're going to go to war with someone or, try to overtake them, you want them groggy. And this is a prime example. This lady here believes she cannot be put under hypnosis. She's mocking the hypnotist. And what do you think he does, Chris, to make her completely fall under his spell within the next minute? As he fixes her gaze on a balloon, and then she's right out, and he programs her to make her believe her name is Joe. This is all within a minute and a half. Let's take a look.
Single muscle, loosening and relaxing, loosen and relaxing, loosen and relaxing. Sleep, deep asleep, all in it, deep asleep, like a rag doll. Every muscle, loosen, just like a bundle of rags, loosen in 5, 4.
I just wanted people to know he put the man in the white suit out by breaking his line of sight. He flashed his hand in front of his eyes to activate bodyguard number 2, Joe, and he will do it with the other lady as well. It's very quick. He breaks the line of sight, which is an activator of putting bodyguard number 1 into the showers to wash up and clean up before he's allowed really to come back on. So let's get this lady again.
Loosen and relaxing, loosen and relaxing. Sleep, deep asleep, all in it, deep asleep, like a rag doll. Every muscle, loosen, just like a bundle of rags. Loosen in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Keep drifting down deeper and deeper. With each and every breath you take, let every muscle loosen and unwind. Many people report they can feel the muscles in their feet and legs loosening and relaxing. A lot of people say they can feel the tension just draining out of the bottoms of their feet. Let yourselves relax deeper and deeper with each and every breath you take. Deeper and deeper with each and every breath you take. So relaxed and so comfortable. And I know you're feeling relaxed and comfortable now. However, I'm going to show you a way in which you can become 10 times more relaxed. 10 times more relaxed than you are right now. And here's how we're going to do that. In just a minute, I'm going to start slowly counting backwards from 5 down to 1. And with every number I count, it's going to take you deeper into this wonderful relaxation. You're going to feel your muscles loosening and relaxing, getting more comfortable, more relaxed, more unwound, so deep, so relaxed, that by the time I reach the number 1, now, every single muscle from the top of your heads to the tips of your toes is going to be totally, deeply, completely, wonderfully relaxed. Your first name, madam?
Carol.
Carol, would you pick a spot on that balloon and just keep your eyes on it, please? Don't take your eyes off until I ask you. You folks are concentrating perfectly. We're going to begin this process with a very deep breath. Would you take a nice deep breath for me, please? Breathe in deeply. That's it. And as you exhale, slowly drop down 5. Just let your legs and feet go limp again. Deep, 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 deep sleep. All the way. Very loose, very relaxed. How are you, madam?
I'm good.
You're good. I apologize, there are no name tags here today. What did you say your first name was?
Bob.
Your first name is?
Bob.
Are you sure?
I'm Bob.
You're Bob.
So, what do you think of that one, Chris?
I thought it was really interesting how the job of the subconscious is to make everybody fit in and feel safe. And as he was trying to get them to relax, one of the things he says was everybody reports feeling so relaxed during this. And it was interesting how that triggered a safety effect that everybody else is feeling this too.
Yeah, and you can see he just said focus on a balloon at the back, and then he says sleep and you're going to relax, and he said to take a deep breath because the deep breath relaxes the system. A relaxed system is more prone to lose a fight. To lose a fight if you're relaxed. If someone attacked you and you're in bed, you're more prone to lose the fight compared to coming out of the gym already revved up. Your body knows that. So when you're relaxed, bodyguard number 1, Rex, comes off his perch, and bodyguard number 2 comes out to be compliant in a loving gesture to try and make sure you survive. Like the compliance can help your survival. So looking at a single point of attention here is enough to take Rex, bodyguard number 1, off duty. Rex's beta brainwave state, the high thinking, the best state, deep thought. We call that the conscious mind as well, and it's the use of the frontal lobe, the thinking part of the brain. So Rex is a beta brainwave state, the conscious mind. Rex is the frontal lobe, the thinking part of the brain. Now, Joe is bodyguard number 2, still loves you. Like, again, it's the greatest love story ever told. He's the alpha brainwave state. That's the alpha brainwave state. That's what hypnosis uses. Like you'll do whatever you're told. Like literally, you saw them forget your name. That lady thought her name was Bob. Of course, it's not Bob. And then the other guy forgot his name. That's how powerful it is when you do this bodyguard switcheroo. And the people who rule you aren't doing stuff to you for entertainment. They're doing it for control of what your behaviors, your thoughts, and your ideas. So this is a little clip from a video documentary called Pseudoology, The Art of Lying. There's a couple green slips in here, like green screens that they don't last long. And it's going to talk about everything we're talking about. And it's really going to go over the fact, ladies and gentlemen, but when you watch a movie or TV screen, Chris, are people fixing their gaze today on their cell phones, their TV screens, and their movie screens? This is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. This is the problem, is that those, not only are they fixing your gaze, activating bodyguard number 2, who does whatever they're told, they're controlling the content of what you're watching, so you do absolutely nothing that makes your life better and everything that makes it worse. So let's watch confirming evidence here, confirmatory testimony of what we're talking about.
So what happens when you're an adult? When you're watching television, you're essentially staring at a blinking light, much like the mice in Christakis' experiment. If you've ever experienced a mind fog after watching television, you're not alone. The brain has 4 modes that it operates in, 4 brainwave patterns. Delta is when you're deep asleep, theta is when you're in light sleep, alpha is awake but relaxed. It's the mode of thinking that you are in when you're in the most heightened state of suggestibility. And then there's beta, the highest functioning mode, like when you're reading a book or you're having a very stimulating conversation. In 1969, Herbert Krugman did a study where he found that in less than 60 seconds, the human brain switched from beta brainwave patterns, those exhibited during logical thought, to alpha brainwave patterns. Alpha is not a bad brainwave pattern to be in, but when you're in that brainwave pattern a lot of the time, and if you look at the averages of how much people are watching television, this just leaves the mind unfocused and unable to concentrate.
Researchers have said that watching television is similar to staring at a blank wall for several hours. Robert Kuby did a study which appeared in Scientific America in 2002.
Looking at how people experienced television in the flow of their everyday life. And we used a beeper technology where we would beep people at intervals, and they would write down what they were doing, how they were feeling, and so on. And I was able to look at this stuff, and I was able to show and demonstrate like what kinds of days people experienced when they would watch more at night. And the answer to that was they felt not very good at work. They had a really bad day at work. I found that people who didn't have a good tolerance for what I called unstructured time watched more TV. And I would say this is probably true for use of the internet too. If you don't feel comfortable with yourself and you need to fill up that time when you're by yourself and you don't have anything else to do, then what are you going to do? You're going to gravitate to the easiest, most inexpensive medium that was ever invented, which is virtually free, television, and fill up your mind with something else. So it's a kind of form of escapism.
The effects of television on the mind are probably one of the most studied aspects of our society. And one of the things that takes place in the mind is that the frontal lobe is being bypassed. Within minutes of sitting down and watching television, the frontal lobe activity simply goes almost to nothing.
The frontal lobe of the brain is the seat of spirituality, morality, and the will. It's actually the analytical portion of our brain, and it's actually the decision maker. And so it's a crucial aspect in regards to our future success and happiness, is how well our frontal lobe is functioning. And unfortunately, entertainment television suppresses the frontal lobe of the brain. Actually, in about 90 seconds of viewing it, the frontal lobe circulation begins to go down, and it actually has an adverse effect. And you know, the interesting thing is people watch entertainment television often due to the fact that they feel a little depressed or anxious, and it kind of calms them. But in reality, it's a very short-term fix, and it's going to complicate things in the long run. Of course, I'm most known for the one who treats depression and anxiety. In fact, we treat the most severe forms of depression and anxiety. And what we have found is virtually every depressed patient will have about a 40% decrease in circulation and activity of the frontal lobe of the brain. And so we're trying to enhance the frontal lobe. And so, you know, unfortunately, you know, a lot of these gadgets that produce this overstimulation, they can be fun for the short term. But, you know, there's more fun things to do than ever before in human history, but yet we have more depression than ever before in human history, more anxiety. Mental health problems are skyrocketing throughout the world. And the entertainment medium is one of the primary reasons why this is occurring. Studies will clearly demonstrate that when you go to entertainment as a way to either get fun and it becomes a habitual process, the risk of depression and anxiety will more than double.
So we decided to drive down to LA and to talk to a top.
Yeah, so it's pretty obvious in this case that Rex is the frontal lobe. This is very important for people to understand, that Rex is the frontal lobe, when you stare at the TV or movie screen, Rex goes away. They told you very clearly that the blood flow to the frontal lobe is not almost non-existent. And the more you watch it, the more you damage your frontal lobe. They say that later on inside the documentary. So let me just make sure I went to the proper slide. So in sort of summation here, so people can understand, taking down bodyguard number 1 is done by everything on this list. Then Joe, bodyguard number 2, and again, these bodyguards are working in tandem. They love you. That's the foundation of their switcheroo process. They want you to be safe. And if bodyguard number 1 can't do it, bodyguard number 2 is charged with protecting you in his way. And this is how you take bodyguard number 1 off the front door bouncer position. Remember, he is the bodyguard we want on. He is the man that can't be fooled. He usually has more strength or mental strength than Joe, because Joe's a bit of a people pleaser, even though people pleasing is a pretty good defense mechanism in some situations. But what can you do to make sure this switcheroo doesn't happen? Because if it happens and you're watching TV, you're going to do whatever the TV tells you. Chris, does that sound familiar for what's going on today, that people are doing what the TV tells them?
Yeah, it's scarily familiar.
In the last 2 years, potentially as well, more heightened awareness there. Absolutely. Fixing of the gaze, number 1. You stare at something, bodyguard number 1 is going down. Simply breaking the eyesight. You saw when he broke the eyesight of the lady, and Keith Barry with the gentleman with the white t-shirt, making him forget his name. Breaking the eyesight is good. Closing the eyes, obviously, hypnotherapists will just say, close the eyes. Let me tell you something about a protection mechanism charged with assessing things by eyesight. Obviously, if you close your eyes, that's like the most severe failure of that charge. So don't close your eyes. You got to go to sleep, but understand you can be manipulated with your eyes closed really, really easily. Encountering a taller tribe member. This is basically what the gentleman was doing when he was sitting behind his hypnosis victims. He was standing. The whole neurological system of the human body knows that, hey, if you're sitting and the tribe member is standing, you're at a disadvantage, a strength disadvantage. So if you encounter a taller tribe member, that's why, to be honest with you, mating rituals can be almost hypnotic if, the man comes in as taller and he has a hypnotic spell over the woman. When you crack your head up, it's shown that if you move your skull up and you're looking upwards, it's proven that you're looking at a stronger tribesman, you're more likely to comply. Interfering with brain function, please pay attention here. Through chemical toxins. You remember Rex's main defenses are eyesight and brain, right? Eyesight and brain, eyesight and brain. What disrupts brain function? Poisons. A big, big factor in your self-sabotage, because Joe is the self-saboteur because he does everything that he's told to do by the media because, Rex is off his perch. Interfering with brain function through confusion. If Rex gets confused, like if he assesses or perceives that his brain's not working, he volunteers not to be the bodyguard of you anymore. And he calls Joe up to do that. But you can kind of trick Rex. And I'm going to show you a great video where Rex gets tricked to think his brain isn't working through confusion tactics. If Rex believes he's too weak financially, mentally, spiritually, or physically to mount a good defense against the threat, Chris, what about people that potentially took an application of unapproved yet authorized medicine because they financially couldn't afford to go 2 weeks without their paycheck? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
So if Rex believes he's too weak financially, he calls on Joe to comply. So we're talking about some very intricate mind control modalities where they're going to weaken you financially, mentally, spiritually, and physically to also beckon Joe up So Joe does exactly what the authority says. You put the victim into a deep relaxed state through deep breathing or countdowns, which conventional hypnotherapists use, or using the authority colors blue and red. We will not get too much into the blue and red, but blue and red are authority colors through repetitive imprinting. That's why Trump and Biden, Trudeau and Pouvier, they will only wear red and blue ties, blue coats, blue suits, because red and blue, through repetitive content, has already pre-programmed the whole neurological system that authority is talking, and it's best to obey in most situations. It's safer. Let's go over to the brain function of Rex so that you can understand there's probably a lot you're doing to put Rex off his perch, puts you at a huge disadvantage. Let's see how caffeine affects brain function. Let's check this out.
To researchers at Wake Forest in North Carolina, where I underwent 2 MRI brain scans. This first scan with no caffeine in my system. Then I downed just 1 drink. Now my second MRI. This was my brain before caffeine. This was after. The difference was remarkable.
It's like a 40% drop in the blood flow to your brain. So that's a lot.
So before caffeine, with caffeine, the blood flow to my brain dropped about 40%.
40%.
Really?
And when it was measured, it was 52. Chris, do you think that interferes with brain function?
Yeah, of course.
Right. And do you think they could, if you fix someone's gaze on the screen and you saw what fixing of the gaze can do, one lady said her name was Bob, the other guy forgot his name. Could you actually use fixing on the gaze on a TV or movie screen and put coffee as the message to make people drink coffee when they left the theater? What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, it seems
absolutely. Absolutely. And that's what's going on, ladies and gentlemen, is not only are they mind controlling you through fixing of the gaze, once your gaze is fixed and your alpha brainwave state, Joe, is triggered, which is you'll do anything you're told, they drive all the repetitive images into your mind so that you're completely consuming the drugs, the psychoactive drugs that keep you in alpha brainwave state every second of every day. So why do you think you're self-sabotaging? Because you're compliant, reflexively obedient, take a knee, people pleaser, bodyguard is there doing everything it's told, and the people controlling what Joe is hearing are the same people that basically farm you and make sure they profit from your disempowered state. I told you it wasn't your fault. I am not joking. Chris, do you remember this slide? This is where NASA, and there's lots of problems with NASA, but this basic experiment was replicated many times. You can replicate it in very simple, experiments. They gave spiders certain psychoactive drugs. The word psychoactive means interferes with brain function. And Chris, which one, and then they let the spiders spin their webs. Which one of the psychoactive drugs, Chris, had the worst effect on brain function?
Caffeine.
You think so? Absolutely. Ladies and gentlemen, there are coffee shops every 500 feet or 1,000 feet in your society because you live on planet mind control. I'm making a documentary. If the presentation today was a little choppy, you'll get the documentary for free for supporting me. Absolutely. You live on planet mind control, and you think your love of coffee is organic to you. You think you picked it. You think you're doing what you do because you're making up the decisions. Well, we got a video for you. Top poisons that disturb brain function: caffeine, alcohol, all pharma drugs, prescription and over-the-counter, nicotine, sugar, additives, preservatives, fast food, narcotics. Why do you think Canada has legalized marijuana, ladies and gentlemen? Coast to coast. And in British Columbia, Canada, all drugs are now legal. All drugs. Yes, cocaine, heroin, fentanyl. As long as you have less than 2 or 3 days supply on you, you're not allowed to be charged. You live on planet mind control. And the reason these things are legalized and pushed is because they disrupt brain function and make sure you do as the TV tells you as you stare at it. Chris, why do you think they lock people in their houses watching TV in the first months of March, from March 2020 onward?
I imagine that makes them the most suggestible, right?
Absolutely. Ask an animal trainer. You can only train animals in isolation. You need the horses away from the other horses. You want to train a singular horse, a singular dog. You train away at first from the pack. Stare at the screen, fix the gaze, tell the people what they're going to do, and away you go for tyrannical control of what looks like people. But this also has a lot to do with self-sabotage, because if you're taking junk, eating takeout food on a Friday night, not fit for a maggot to consume, you've been brainwashed through this portal, the subconscious Joe portal, to think foods that kill you and your kids are a treat or a reward on a Friday night. You're self-sabotaging. You're self-sabotaging because they're making you self-sabotage. And the more of these products you use, the more your brain function is already retarded to the point, and retarded just means to hold back, retarded to the point where you do not have bodyguard number one on duty. You are in trouble. You will drink wine and you'll repeat the bullshit phrase, red wine is healthy, because they put it in. They have the Taj Mahal liquor stores in Canada. 5 years ago, the Canadian government came out with the new healthy alcohol consumption guidelines for all Canadians, spent tens of millions of dollars advertising to Canadians. 15 drinks per week for men is healthy? You telling me I'll be healthier drinking 15 drinks of booze a week and 10 drinks for women? Ladies and gentlemen, you live on planet mind control. And if you do not know this information, you're at a severe disadvantage, severe, because the smartest, best of you will not be available to you. Bodyguard number one, Rex, your frontal lobe is the care and control center. High logic, morality lives in the frontal lobe. Ethics lives in the frontal lobe. Justice lives in the frontal lobe. Chris, do you notice anything about those three attributes in the past 2 years?
Been severely missing.
Severely missing. The people who pulled this stunt in March 2020 made sure that they fixed your gaze for so long and disrupted your brain function for so long that you would have no choice but to comply with your own destruction. How smart are they? But we can fight back if we know. And I'm going to make sure you know how to fight back. You got to get Joe. You got to get Joe out of the driver's seat. You got to get Rex back in there. So personal care products, Wi-Fi, low-fat diets, vegan diets are proven, ladies and gentlemen, to disrupt brain function. They don't have the saturated fats or the cholesterol contents to build your brain, and they damage your brain. Same as statin drugs. Reduce the amount of basically fat and cholesterol floating in your blood. Causes brain damage, disrupts brain function. And the reason you're having the vegan diet or want to save the planet, because they put it in there. They put it in there if they fixed your gaze and showed you veganism repetition. That's how they did it. That's how they get you going in the direction they want to go. Let's watch a video together and let's get all of this out all in one video. Fixing of the gaze to take Rex off duty, bring order follower Joe to the main bodyguard position. Let's see how well you listened for the first 45 minutes here. Can you pick out, now this is the video we usually watch. It has Max Major. He's hacking Howie Mandel on America's Got Talent. Can you pick out when Max Major fixes the gaze, even in the mind's eye of the viewer? I'll have to give you direction on that one. You don't even have to fix their gaze directly. You can fix it in their imagination. This is a whole other level of mind control. Can you see the confusing scenes or situation that also sends bodyguard number 1 into the showers and brings Joe out? Please remember that bodyguard number 2, the subconscious, Joe, will tabulate anything repetitive if activated and repeat the repetitive content to find safety in the bigger group. That's his job. He's just trying to love you to safer days. Please remember that the judges on America's Got Talent and the audience are sitting down and Max Major is standing. Power differential right away. Please remember that the judges and the audience fixed their gaze onto their video screens before Max came out live on the stage, because his trick involves a video and then a live appearance, but everybody had to fix their gaze on a video screen before Max came out on stage. And do you see where Max Major tells everyone to close their eyes? I already told you, closing the eyes is instant sending Rex off to the showers, and you got Joe right doing exactly what you want Joe to do, what Joe is famous for, doing exactly as he's told. So let's watch this video of Max Major putting Howie Mandel from America's Got Talent under the form of mind control that I'm talking about, taking bodyguard number 1 off the front door bouncer position, bringing out dingbat bodyguard number 2, Joe, who's trying to protect you by tabulating and repeating the most repetitive content in the environment and then regurgitating it like it's his in order to find safety in the herd. Let's watch it all put together in only one video.
At the audition, Simon called this next act a demon. He's a mentalist, and tonight he's gonna unleash his powers live in front of the whole country. He is Max Major.
You know, this was my view for all my years of college. I was working as a bartender while I pursued a degree in business. And as a bartender, you're almost invisible, a fly on the wall. So I got to watch and observe. I learned a lot about human nature. What we see affects how we think. And if we can become skilled in controlling how people see things, well, then we can start to play with their mind. It's all just a matter of perception. Our thoughts are a combination of our own ideas and the choices that other people want us to make. After all, the reason that advertising works is because everyone thinks it doesn't work on them. After college, I quit bartending and attempted to turn my skills of reading people into a profession. Ever since taking that leap, I've been totally focused on having my own show in Las Vegas, and I can finally feel the pieces coming together. Performing is my dream, and America's Got Talent is the opportunity that's going to get me there. Tonight, as I perform in the live rounds, I need to be totally in tune with the judges. Swinging for the fences with this act, and I hope I can pull it off. Tonight is the night I make my dreams come true. So glad you can experience the show this way. Now, since you can't be here with us in person, I'm going to try and get inside your minds through the screen. Now, each of you should have a pad of paper and a marker. Can you hold up a clean sheet so that I can see you're ready to begin? Good. You can just hold that comfortably in your lap for now. In a moment, I'm going to ask each of you to draw a picture. But before you do that, I want you to close your eyes and focus on your image. See it in your mind and open your eyes. Now I want you to draw the image you've been thinking of, and don't let anyone see it. When you're finished, hold the pad towards you. Howie, in addition to connecting with our virtual audience, tonight, I'd love to connect with you.
Okay.
Are you up for it?
I'm connected.
All right. I'm going to take off my watch, and I'm going to set this to a specific time that only I know. And I'm going to leave that right here.
Howie, I'd like you to close your eyes and in your mind see a clock face. Imagine the hand on the clock spinning round and round and round. When I snap my fingers, the hands stop. And in your mind, you see a time. What time do you see on the clock? Tell us all.
4 o'clock.
4 o'clock. It's really what you saw in your mind?
I did.
Take a look at the time I set on the watch.
Can't see it.
Oh.
It's exactly 4 o'clock.
That's amazing.
Now that we're on the same wavelength, I'd like to take things a step further. Inside of this envelope is my intention for this evening, a target, so to speak, something I hope to transmit to you. Howie, I want you to close your eyes once again and see yourself on an empty street. In the distance, you see a billboard, and on the billboard, you see an image. See your image in your mind and open your eyes. Howie, yes or no, do you have an image in mind?
I do.
I want you to draw the image on that pad in front of you, but don't let anyone see it. Draw the image you've been thinking of and hold it towards you. Make sure there's no way anyone else can know.
I know it's hard.
It's us. We're allowed.
Yeah.
You're
Not even you.
Oh, really?
The question is, how much can be communicated without ever saying a word? It's exactly what we hope to find out tonight as Howie puts his finishing touches on his drawing, and you can just hold that towards you.
Yeah.
Howie, before the show began, I made a drawing of my own and I sealed it inside of this envelope. It's something I intended to send to you. Howie, does your drawing look anything like this?
You got to be kidding me.
Show us, tell us, what did you draw?
No.
Right on the money.
Come on!
Wow.
That's crazy.
At the beginning of my act, I promised I would tell you how this all could be possible. You see, it started before I ever walked out on this stage, before you ever picked up a pad and a pen. In my opening video, I attempted to plant a seed inside of your mind. Take a closer look at the subliminal messages hiding in plain sight. No, wait. You see, Howie, you're not the only one who watched that video, and you're also not the only one who drew a picture. You see, seeing this will have had an effect on all of you. Everyone, turn your drawing around now. Hold it up nice and close to the camera. Judges, look around you. It's everyone. Even in this virtual world, we are all connected. I'm Max Major. Thank you very much.
Max Major!
Thank you so much.
Standing O! Howie, is he in your mind?
Of course he's in his mind. This is what the screens are for. And let's just do a quick recap of what was going on there. Did you see, and maybe I'll ask Chris and fill in the blanks if Chris doesn't know the answers. Did you see Joe, bodyguard number 2, come out in both the audience and in Howie Mandel? You saw him come out, right, Chris?
Yes.
The compliant, reflexively obedient, looking for repetitive content in the environment in order to sort of flash the gang signs back of whatever environment he is in. Go along to get along, people please. The confusion parts of the video that were purposely put in to take bodyguard number 1, sexy stud Rex, off his perch. You might not have noticed that Chris, those sort of cups at the beginning, they were supposed to be beer steins, right? But they were actually sippy cup size.
Yes, exactly.
That's enough to confuse bodyguard number 1. That's why Max Major put it in, because this is the research. And Chris, what about it looked like a college or university red plastic cup, right? But as Max Major picked it up, it was just a long piece of paper, right?
Right.
Right. That's enough to confuse bodyguard number 1, Rex, and bring bodyguard number 2, Joe, the compliant slave, out from his perch in an attempt to protect you. Chris, how many people can do a Rubik's Cube without looking at it?
Not many.
Correct. That's absolutely correct. And that's why he did it without looking at it, because it not only fixes your gaze on the cube, because you're like, how's he doing this? So you just keep getting deeper and deeper in the alpha brainwave state by fixing your gaze. And yeah, he fixes your gaze and confuses you at the same time. We already saw, did you see the copying part of the mind that wants to fit in and come out and Howie in the audience? And it's because this protection system, this dual bodyguard system, comes as standard equipment on all humans. That's why I got Howie. That's why I got everybody in the audience as well. And like fixing the gaze, the fixing of the gaze, Chris, do you remember when he said I went to college, university, I was a fly on the wall?
Yes.
He fixed the gaze inside your mind's eye there, because it's been proven that all humans make pictures from the words other people tell them. You actually saw a fly on the wall, fixed your gaze inside your mind's eye. He fixed your gaze when he was cleaning the glass. He fixed your gaze on him. He fixed it on the Rubik's Cube as well. He even made sure that there were similarities when he finished the Rubik's Cube. It had orange and yellow on the sides of the Rubik's Cube, blue on the bottom and white on the top. And he did it at the exact same time, finished the Rubik's Cube with those colors as he passed the California sign, the billboard that was over his other shoulder. And the California letters were orange and yellow, blue on the bottom, and there were white clouds on the top. He's even planting repetitive color content so that you remember the sun symbology even harder. How crazy is that? Let me show you how bizarre this part of the mind is. I know I have some coaches in the audience. They might not even know how Max Major made Howie pick the 4 o'clock. I've given that one away to you before, right, Chris? Maybe?
We usually talk about the sun quite a bit.
Okay. So there was no editing. The 4 o'clock repetition. So Joe loves repetition. He collects repetition if he's at the door because he wants to know what the tribe is doing, what the majority is doing, what the bigger herd is doing. So when he's asked for an answer, he can give the answer that gets him the most safety. You did not notice, but Max Major, just like your TV shows, just like your radio songs, just like your movies, they make sure to write in very, very particular auditory content. You did not notice that when Max Major was on that back Hollywood backdrop, that he used the word perform and performance. Chris, what smaller words are in performance and perform?
Form?
Four.
Okay.
This is how bizarre this part of the brain is. It picked up the repetitive 4 sounds in those 2 words. And then when Max came out live on stage, he actually used the real word for. He says, Howie, I want to connect to you. Are you up for it? There's your third 4. He used the word comfortable. Okay. There's a 4 in comfortable, and he used the word before. There's 5 phonetic 4s hidden in his auditory language. Joe is such a copier and a copycat and a mimicker in order to try and blend in with the herd and give the herd back what the herd's giving him to attempt safety. Joe actually recorded the 5 phonetic 4s. And when Joe was asked for a number, Joe says, 4 is safe here. 4 is safe for this tribe. And he said 4. And that's why Max Major set the 4 o'clock. How bizarre is that? And I will tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that's why they don't allow the stars to write their songs anymore. They don't. It's the same writer for Gilligan's Island that it was for Dukes of Hazzard, that it was for Mary Tyler Moore Show. I'm not showing my age there. I just don't know any other. I haven't watched TV in a long time. But what you have to understand is they got you coming and going, just like Howie Mandel. You might even have missed, Max Major said, watch and observe as a command when you were in trance. He also used the word target and transmit. A target is like a sun. Transmit, sun transmits the sunlight to you. And he actually said reading and focused so that you could read the sign. He used the word reading as he was passing the California sign over his shoulder, and he wanted you to focus on it as well. So, Chris, those are some extra things I don't think you've noticed before, correct?
Yes, no, I have not.
And that is the exact science. The only science that is truly settled is the science of group psychology and brainwashing, mind control, and psychological manipulation through the dual bodyguard system. And this information is kept purposely from the public. Let's see bodyguard number 2. One more video. We got lots of time here. Let's see bodyguard number 2 hit center stage again. Now that you know how these tricks are done, look for repetitive content. It only has to have 2 repetitions to change someone's behavior. It's called dormant programming and then trigger programming. All you need is 2 sort of images to get Joe all riled up that that's the right answer, that's the right idea, that's the right belief system to bond. It can completely control behavior. It completely controls the behavior of the people here. And ladies and gentlemen, this is why you're self-sabotaging. When you watch the movies, TV shows, your screen, you're fixing your gaze. And when you're in alpha brainwave state trance and Joe's at the wheel, they're telling you to do stuff where you will constantly be a perpetual human mess your entire life. Here we go.
These days, you don't have to be a doctor or a magician to have power over people. Social media can give anyone the ability to influence the masses, and that influence can be quite profitable. So to find out if I have what it takes to be an influencer, I enlisted the help of 3 social media celebrities with over 6 million combined followers. Meet Griffin.
What's up, you guys?
Ditto.
Hey, guys.
And Andrew.
Hey guys, it's Andrew. It's a vlog.
We met at the World of Fruit, a selfie lover's paradise, for a lesson in influencing.
So listen, I thought maybe we could scroll through my feed a little bit. Maybe you can give me some tips. For sure.
Let's do it, yeah.
I asked them to be honest with me, and I regretted it immediately.
What's the cover of this?
Cover?
Is it intriguing? Is it captivating? Are you getting an audience from it?
I hadn't thought of that. Okay. How's this? It's a hot day.
Ice Ice Baby for
Yeah.
that?
Remember that song?
I do, yeah.
Sweet. I'd say we look très chic, right? Very cool.
Yeah.
He loves swings. My caption idea was, you are getting very sleek. They
did not hold back.
This is kind of creepy.
Caption is, nothing like a tray of cold ones.
It looks a little forced, but like, it's not to the point where it's like, oh, you know?
Oh.
There was a lot of constructive criticism.
I don't know if I love the filter. Yeah, the filter, that's exactly what I was thinking.
And some not so constructive.
And my caption was, he's channeling his inner Gallagher.
For your age demographic, I think that's...
I've always wondered, does being an influencer mean that you are less susceptible to being influenced?
Yes.
Interesting. Did you guys notice the red cloth behind here?
I did indeed.
I was here a week ago, took a selfie.
Oh.
I'll give you guys a little peek here. Just wanted to, you know, whet
an
your
ad?
appetite. Well, basically, it's gonna be my first endeavor at being an influencer.
Okay.
Speaking of which, since these guys get paid to promote products, I posed a challenge. I gave them 50 unglamorous items to choose from.
Gravy boat, toilet paper, whatever this is.
And gave them free reign of 20 different selfie-licious rooms to snap a pic. Before I showed them my magic, I wanted to see them work their magic.
I'm gonna give you guys 5 minutes to start now. Have at it.
Headed downtown with an LA crowd to
Okay, that's not flexible.
teach you just how we get down. First we glow up, then we show up, and we make our rounds. No need to boast, I know you know us, so you peep our style. Come in, can't keep a secret, kind of flaunting. Watch me, I'll show you how.
Selfie sticks down, come on back.
Nice.
Was it fun?
It was.
It was a blast.
Yeah?
It was difficult.
I had a lot of fun.
All right, you probably have hundreds of photos on your roll right now.
Oh, yeah.
Yes?
Oh, yeah.
So here's what I'd like you guys to do, is each of you scroll through everything you just took and pick one photo with one product in one location that you think would make the most unique Instagram post, okay? Add a hashtag to it. Don't let each other see. And then you're all gonna post at the exact same time, okay? Ready? post. Phones down. Is the suspense killing you guys?
I want to see it.
Before we get to that, I'm just curious. Raise your hand if you chose a pic with the stapler. Hemorrhoid donut. First aid tape. A sexy coat hanger. Raise your hand if you chose the ice cube tray.
Drama.
Wait, what? Wait.
I have questions.
Wait.
Like you.
Hold on a
Wait,
second. Let's see. Of the many places to take a photo here, raise your hand if you posted a pic in front of the mirror wall. The disco pineapple. Big banana. Raise your hand if you chose to take a picture on the watermelon swing.
Come on.
Can I see the posts?
Yes, you can.
Show each other.
I don't like this.
Go.
Wait, are you kidding me?
Yeah, what? I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. How does this... Wait, but that's...
Yeah, that's so interesting.
It is interesting. Yeah,
Because
you're
I was
telling
here
me.
a week ago and I took a picture.
Yeah, you were.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't sure if it really was influencer worthy, but turns out it was.
No.
The ice cube tray on the watermelon swing in front of my face. The hashtag was Trey Cool. What were your hashtags?
I don't even want to talk about it.
Trey Cool.
I'm shooketh.
Well, I bet you have the same question they have.
So my question is how?
The answer's simple. I wasn't here to take a lesson in influencing. I was here to teach it.
Do you think that you are less susceptible to being influenced?
Yeah.
You love swings. You are getting very sleepy. I'd say we look trashy, right? Very cool.
Is it intriguing? Is it captivating?
Nothing like a tray of cold ones.
Ice baby for
Yeah.
This is kind of creepy.
My caption was, he's channeling his inner Gallagher.
Oh, I don't like this. Why are you in my brain?
How does it feel to be influenced?
Confusing.
You can have confusing. Wow.
Right. The people who control what you see, what you hear on the way to work, even in your government curriculum at your school, have the technology, are using the same technology against you so that you self-sabotage your whole life and do exactly what they want, which is you to give your energy to their goals instead of giving your energy to your own goals. Does that make any sense, Chris?
Yes.
You can see that the people in that last video, the 3 teenagers, they believe they were in control of their own behavior. They believe their behavior was organic to them, just like you, just like me. Just like I used to think my behavior was organic, that I would do drugs and I would drink alcohol and I would eat fast food. I thought everybody, because you just don't know what you don't know. So here are the hard facts about that aren't good for you and your self-sabotage. Those are film what, Chris? What do they call those on the side? Film reels, right? They're trying to make you have another reality with the film reels. And they have the coming attractions to make you attract what they want to come. They call them movie trailers because it's a trail for you to follow in your brain. They call it the Cineplex with the phonetic sin on the front. They hide it in CIN, but it's really SIN. And it means they're doing things to your mind that you have no idea. So here are the hard facts that aren't good for you and your self-sabotage. Your TV and movie screens were invented to modify your behavior, period. End of story. They are not entertainment devices. They are entrainment devices. They teach you, they train you. That's why they call it training, because a train is one boxcar in front of the other, all going to the same destination. They are entrainment devices. Even the phonetic ment on the end of entrainment, ment is Latin for mind. They're training your mind. Your TV and movie screens were invented as documented military weapons designed to program your subconscious once you're in the sitting position, and once your fixing of the gaze on the screen initiates bodyguard number 2. Joe, the compliant people pleaser, you ever hear these people described in our society? Oh, Morris, he's a great guy. Or, Julie, she's a great lady. Well, that's Joe. Joe's liked by everybody because he does everything that's repetitive in the environment. He goes along to get along. And you'll notice that Joe is rarely successful. You might have a government job where compliance is actually his only skill, but he's not happy. There's different forms of strength: spiritual strength, financial strength, mental strength. Like Howie Mandel, you may believe your behavior is your own and organic to your deep intelligence, but there's a good chance it isn't. Just like Howie Mandel, just like the whole studio audience on America's Got Talent, just like those 3 teenagers, just like that lady who said her name was Bob, and just like that guy who forgot his name, you are at an extreme disadvantage if you do not understand this technology that is getting rifled at you every single day on purpose. You were born into planet mind control. That's where you're born. That's why you're having a hard time, because they can't rule strong, independent adults. They can only rule weak, dependent children, and they'll program all those attributes right into you so that they get what they want by keeping away a life that you need and deserve and want yourself. They've been doing this to you well before there were screens. Think of the town square. So, Chris, if I was in the town square 2,000 years ago and you were on a podium above me and my head is cocked up like you're a taller tribesman, would I not be triggered that you could dominate me, or I should do what you're told? Right. Correct? Mm. And how about if they would organize the town square meetings 2,000 years ago? Would there be one single person on the stage? Where would my gaze be fixed, Chris?
Be fixed upward to that authoritative figure on the stage. Right.
Not breaking the gaze. We got the fix again. If fixing of the gaze again. If you go to Lord of the Rings in the first film with Viggo Mortensen or Morganson, he has a line said, "Beware the black magician. Don't look him in the eye, for he will set a spell on you." This is very old knowledge. And Chris, how about if, as a person who knew mind control, I make the stage, I make it higher, I'm fixing your gaze. How about at different times of the year, I would schedule the meetings at different times, and I'd make sure the setting sun was behind me, blinding your eyesight. What's one of the ways to dysfunction bodyguard number 1? Eyesight interference, correct? That's right. Your TV is your town square, ancient town square on your wall of your condo or your house today, and they trick you so that you can go out and pay for it yourself. Because if they delivered it, Chris, if they delivered you the weed and the booze for free and the TV, do you think it would shake some people back into reality?
If it was delivered for free?
Yeah. Wouldn't someone say, why are they doing that?
Yeah, you'd think.
Yeah, and that's why they make you work for it. It makes you add to the illusion. So you think, oh, I'm doing really good down here in the slave farm. I just got an 80-inch TV. I'm doing amazing.
Freedom in the areas that don't count.
Yeah, freedom in the areas that don't count. We call that freedom, FREE-DUMB. Other hard facts that aren't good for your self-sabotage: you're easier to rule, control, steal from, manipulate, and govern when you're depressed, dysfunctional, disoriented, in debt, and depressed. And they will give you the cues so you pursue this yourself. You think it's organic. Oh, I did it. You didn't do it. They did it. They laugh at you. They laugh because they're making sure you watch the screens, fix your gaze, and Joe's always activated. And inside the content of the movies and the TV shows, it's all the same content. They don't care if you go see Chris Hemsworth or Chris Tucker. They don't care if you see Denzel Washington or Morgan Freeman. They put the same things and they riddled the same patterns and symbols throughout the background. They don't care if it's World War Z with Brad Pitt or I Am Legend with Will Smith. You're going to believe there's viruses, and they're not. And there's no viruses. And that's another presentation all on its own. Where you get your ideas are from liars and psychological manipulators, and they make you believe things so they can screw you around majorly at some sort of bottleneck that they have planned for you in the future. So they don't care what movie you go to at the Cineplex. They'll give you the free dumb, the fake freedoms, the freedoms that don't count, the free dumb plan, FREE-GUMB, because they make sure it's the same themes, same symbols, same everything riddled throughout the background of every single movie you go see. Just like in the Max Major Howie Mandel hack, he riddled the 6 sun symbols. It could have been a cannonball, could have been a candle, could have been a gun, could have been a pumpkin. You're going to regurgitate it out. You don't know what's going on. And I'm here to tell you what's going on so that your life can get better, so you can stop self-sabotaging and build the world that would really bring heaven to earth. So you're collecting solar energy for a small group of people. They're using that energy to achieve their goals while you believe that you're living your life according to your deep intelligence, as they constantly activate bodyguard number 2, Joe, so you do exactly as they wish. They pollute you purposely at every turn and also use mind control, so you pollute yourself. It's one thing for them to spray the skies with the pollution, what people deem chemtrails. It's another thing for them to put chlorine and fluoride in your tap water, but they're going to brainwash you for the coffee, the alcohol, the narcotics, the Axe spray, the Tylenol, the Advil, the microwave food, the Teflon pans, poison, 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 all disrupting the bodyguard number 1, Rex, and making sure Rex, the logical frontal lobe, rational, strong solution, focused part of your brain is completely offline. They're attacking your frontal lobe. They've been destroying Rex as your primary bodyguard since the day you were born on this planet. They can get you running east looking for a sunset, and they can get you rearranging the furniture on the deck of the Titanic in your own life. That has no ability to make you healthy, wealthy, or happy. This is why you're self-sabotaging. You're programmed to. It's not your fault. So you never gain physical, mental, spiritual, or financial strength to resist their programming. And that's how I did mine. I resisted the programming through physical and financial strength alone. Now I'm working on my mental and my spiritual. I resisted by executing brainwashing techniques on myself as well, and mind control techniques on myself to break out of their hypnosis and to put myself into better hypnosis. You're going to have that technology by the time we're done here today. So, Chris, I'm going to roll this one. No one's seen this before. This is a popular TV show on Netflix. Get a load of this. Please keep in your mind's eye what I've taught you already, and the horror of what the kids are watching today, because they're taking it to another level. The people who know this technology, check this trailer out. You won't believe it. This is a popular show on Netflix for kids.
I'm James. I'm 17, and I'm pretty sure I'm a psychopath. When I was 9, I put my hand in a deep fat fryer. I wanted to make myself feel something. School was beneath me, but it was a good place for observation and selection. I had a plan. I was going to kill someone. Hey?
I've seen you skating. You're pretty shit.
Fuck off.
Working all day with my mind on fire. I can't stop thinking of you.
I kind kind of think I could fall in love with him.
I thought she could be interesting to kill, so I pretended to fall in love with her.
Walking all day with my feet on. She's nice.
What is?
I thought probably he was gay.
He does, prick. Let's leave this shithole town. I'm going whether you come with me or not. You in?
I didn't know where we were going, or when I was going to kill her. I punched my dad in the face and stole his car, and that felt like a good place to start.
We can literally do anything.
Do you want to go on a date?
I will have a banana split and the extra fucking spoon. Sorry, that's it, right? Marvin! Oh yeah, see if Marvin can make a banana split for me, you fucking... Bye, Marvin!
Seemed that Alyssa had some issues.
Keep on running.
I feel safe with James.
Keep on hiding.
Being with Alyssa had started to make me feel things. I didn't like it at all.
Have you ever eaten a pussy before? A lot of the time you don't register the important moments as they happen. You only see that they were important when you look back.
Seatbelt?
Fuck seatbelts. Take your top off.
I think I'm stuck. Do you think it's going to explode?
It's not a film.
I might be able to fix it. We can't just leave it here.
Do you reckon you can still fix it?
Why is no one stopping?
Probably because you've got your tits out. No one stops the weirdos except other weirdos.
Do you want a lift?
Come on.
I am going to be so fucked off if we get murdered.
Chris, what do you think of that?
I think I'm still a little shocked.
Yeah, and that's the quality of media, because they're trying to take this to a higher level, because people are in such deep hypnosis from the poisoning alone that they'll mimic almost anything that's being put out there. Morality is down. The frontal lobe is being damaged. The morality is damaged. The ethics are damaged. It's a big problem. Did anybody notice the breaking of the eyesight to start the video? Did you notice the alcohol? Did you notice the coffee? Did you notice the blue, the use of the red and the blue for authority colors? I bet you didn't, but that's okay. Don't forget, they're not going for your conscious mind. They're trying to bypass your conscious mind. They're trying to fix your gaze and make sure you don't notice. What I'm trying to tell you is Joe noticed. Joe noticed. Bodyguard number 2 noticed everything that I just talked about. Now that you know how this works, how you're self-sabotaging, how you repeat and mimic and mirror and emulate the repetitive content of your environment, once you fix your gaze on a screen for probably about 3 seconds or more, this sort of video probably won't shock you. And now, if you see videos like this, you'll have the knowledge to understand where kids like this are coming from. Check this kid out. And instead of being shocked now that you're educated, you can explain it to your friends and family.
So, I like murders and I like killing in my life. I'm going to kill everybody in the world except for my family because they just didn't do anything to me. I just like killing. To me, I just like killing. To me, I just like killing.
What do you want to be when you grow up?
A murderer because I like killing. My brain tells me if I like killing or not. I like killing because when I first watched my grown-up killing show, myself started to like killing, and then my brain started to like telling me what to do with killing in it. So I like murders and I like killing in my life. I'm going to kill everybody in the world except for my family because they just didn't do anything to me. I just like killing. So
just any type of person, it doesn't matter. What about me?
Yeah.
Even me?
No, not even my teachers either.
Okay, because I'm the first person that you told this. Am I? Yeah?
So, I just like killing.
So what are you going to be again when you grow up?
A murderer.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
You haven't seen that one before either, have you, Chris?
I have not.
Right. So what did he say? Do you remember what he said? Something in my brain is telling me to kill?
Right after he liked a particular show or something was on something he enjoyed.
Would it be Joe or Rex telling him?
That would be Joe.
Yeah, and why would Joe be telling him to kill? Because this part of the brain, Joe, doesn't know the difference between real time, what's on the screen, and imagined thought. doesn't know the difference. So Joe's job is to find the repetitive patterns and, images in the tribe that it's in. And it doesn't know the difference between real life tribe and what's on the screen as a tribe. And Joe's job is to get repetitive cueing and mimic what he sees in order to flash the gang signs of the environment he's in order to fit in to be safe. So Chris, is it a really shock? Is it a big shock that this kid, after watching killing shows, wants to blend in through killing? Is it a shock?
No, it's not. It's scary
Right.
how something that lacks so much empathy can be so easily repeated.
Did you know that a child mimics 9 times as much as an adult? So the child Joe mimics at 9 times the rate as the adult Joe. Right. How much trouble are the kids in? And these are the people that are taking care of us. And this is why, the morality is so low in the care homes and everything. This has been a planned attack since the day everybody listening to this has been born. I don't care how old you are. Here's a good video about this. Used to be the sign off. There used to be TV, ladies and gentlemen, that did not go 24 hours a day, and the main stations would sign off with the national anthem. Your TVs are military weapons. They've been programming you for decades and decades. Here's somebody that took the sign off of the national anthem, either on NBC or ABC in the United States, and started to slow down the ticker rate, and then found the subliminal messages behind the words. And he spelled out the words that were hidden behind the real words, and he spelled them out below so that you can see them. And Chris, you'll send everybody, I'm going to make sure to make a list of every video we've used so that you can give people the videos they can watch themselves. It might go a little fast. I guarantee you the words that he says are there are definitely there. Just focus on the words that he writes on the bottom. First, we'll see the real anthem, and then he'll slow down the ticker rate, and we'll see exactly what's hidden there. Because the Joe, bodyguard number 2, and his obsession with looking for repetitive content, he's proven to download at 11 million pieces of data a second. So consciously, you cannot see the hidden words. Joe can see it. The subconscious can see it. The alpha brainwave state can see it, and it takes it as command. So let's take a look.
Our national anthem.
What did you think of that, Chris?
Wow. A little a little blown away. Is that video, are we able just to find that easily on the web?
Yeah. They censor because of course this sort of accessing Joe, he follows the most repetitive content, so they're harder to find those videos. I have an archive of them. They're still on YouTube, but you can't find them. Even if you have the exact wording in the title, you still can't find them.
Okay.
So I have them archived. The link still works, but you'll never find them.
Interesting.
Because they don't want you having repetitive content that breaks you out of the trance. Okay. So, Chris, when was the outbreak of the coronavirus?
I think March 2020.
And what year did this movie come out? You can confirm it, but it says Captain America came out in
2011.
Yeah. Does anybody notice where those two arrows are pointing? Why would they do that? What do you see?
Foreshadowing.
Yeah, not foreshadowing and putting in the primary first repetition. How many repetitions did I say you needed to hack someone's behavior? How many?
2 or 3?
2. So this goes into your subconscious and it stays there as the first repetition. What is the beer over the shoulder of Captain America here? What's the beer?
Okay, Corona. It looks.
That's right, Corona. And what's over his shoulder on the other side? Doesn't that look like the image of what?
Oh, coronavirus.
Absolutely. 2011. How do they know? How do they know? Because you live on planet mind control. Your behavior is spoken for you before you even do it. And if they gave you the movies free and picked you up and threw you in a paddy wagon and forced you to go, would you know then that it was a scam? So they make you pay so that you think you're deciding. This is what's going on with people's self-sabotage, is that they're putting in the cues inside your movies, your TV. They're fixing the gaze, taking bodyguard number 1 off duty. Rex is in the shower, lovingly, volunteering of bodyguard number 2. Joe comes out to do exactly what he's told and to compile the repetitive content of the environment for a copy, mimicking, and people-pleasing event, and just doing what everybody else is doing and saying what everybody else is saying and thinking what everybody else is thinking. Now, do you think they're going to program you to be a successful, independent adult, Chris, or do you think they're going to make you a messy, dependent, childlike person?
Messy, because it's much easier to control.
That's right. So there, folks, that is a clip, a real clip from 2011, the movie Captain America, coronavirus, right in the film. Because that's the virus and there's a Corona beer. And your subconscious mind can pick that out a mile away and store that in the back warehouse of the memory. And then when it hears coronavirus 10 or 9 years later, it's an automatic match, which means if it's matched, it means Joe knows that it's safe, because a matching repetitive content or a matching repetitive theme means that the bigger group, at least 2 tribesmen, are involved with it. And you would have had a lot more than just 2 imprints of this mind control program. You would have had hundreds, if not thousands. You just didn't notice it. So here's your solutions. So who's behind all my problems? And you see, damn, it's you. You're behind all your problems. You have to consciously interfere. If you have to start consciously coming up to par in your own life, level up, adult up, show up in your own life and start forcing the thought process again. If everybody is doing it, or if there's a lineup for it, or if the government or TV says to do it, get out of there and get out of there fast. Because there's no way in a society of diverse people that everybody's going in one direction at the same time, unless they're under the type of self-sabotage mind control that I'm talking about right here. Number 2, I'm going to show you how to reprogram the same part of the brain So they're using repetitive content to make you a mess. But there's only one way to do mind control. There's one way. It's based on the repetitive content. So I am going to, myself and my team, Andrea, Chris, Meredith, and myself, you email me. Anybody seeing this, email me and you tell me what you're self-sabotaging in. I'm going to have a hypnotherapy track, hopefully, for that, or I'll get close to that. I'm going to use something called wall art, and I'm going to email you exactly how to use it so that you reprogram. You're going to basically reprogram your way out of chemicals. Start with your health, because Rex is taking off his perch by chemicals. So if you're drinking coffee, booze, smoking drugs, or smoking cigarettes, email me first, because this is all about getting the toxicity down and reprogramming Joe. Just in case Joe has to come out again, we're going to give Joe some positive repetitive content to follow. We're going to use the game of repetition. We're going to out-rep the negative content in your life. You email me. Tell me where you're self-sabotaging your health to start. We'll work on the other stuff later. I'll give you hypnotherapy tracks, which has direct access to Joe. We're going to tell Joe what to do. The TV and the movie screen. We're going to override that programming. So we'll use the hypnosis to hijack Joe, and we're going to hijack Joe to make Joe believe that the bigger herd isn't drinking coffee, isn't drinking booze, isn't smoking, isn't even having junk food, so that we can bring bodyguard stud Rex, bodyguard number one, back as the doorman inside your brain complex, get the frontal lobe going again. So email me, I'll send you wall art and hypnotherapy to reprogram, and it's a game of reps. I'm going to out-rep the crappy programming they put in with something called wall art and hypnotherapy. And like I said, let's make it around your health to start. I'll work on your other issues later. Let's work on your health to start, because if you're polluted, your brain function doesn't work. And if your brain function doesn't work, Rex doesn't work. Your conscious mind won't work. Your frontal lobe won't work. We need Rex, that big security stud. We need him at the front door of your life. You have to do your part. You got to start reducing your conventional TV exposure, movies, radio, and all print media. Reduce it. And if you watch it, look for the Lyria-based content ripping through the backgrounds. They're easy to see when you have this knowledge. You got to go toward full elimination of, they're not your friends. They're out there right now committing genocide and murder in a way where they're convincing people through repetitive content to murder and injure themselves and their own children, so that the people organizing this can legally stay on side, because no one goes to jail if you murder or injure yourself. These aren't good people. Wrap your head around it. Stop exposing yourself and your kids and your family to their modalities of pure and utter evil. What these people are doing in regards to evil makes the dictionary definition of evil look meaningless. Be careful. You don't know what you're dealing with. It's not who, it's what. Increase your exposure to content that supports health, wealth, abundance, and happiness. It's up to you. Down-regulate the garbage content. Up-regulate the exposure to positive content, people that are moving ahead in the world, courageous people, people that have fought the system. There's a lot of truth tellers out there. Learn to speak truth again. Build your mental strength. Build your spiritual strength. Build your physical and financial strength. Stop polluting yourself and your brain function, and you'll use our material to brainwash you out of your addictions. Chris, we'll send everybody our handout where it encapsulates the full household environment, and we tell people healthy substitutes that aren't toxic, right? We can send people that
for sure,
so that they can get the toxicity down. We really need them to get the toxicity down so there's no retardation of the brain function, because we need this guy back. We need Rex back. We need the conscious mind back. We need the frontal lobe back on guard. Can't fix our gaze. Stop looking at screens. Okay? And stop inhibiting and retarding your own brain function. And you won't be able to do it until you get the hypnosis and wall art and follow the instructions, because everybody's tried to stop their addictions. Everybody's tried to lose weight. Everybody's tried to stop eating ice cream. Everybody's tried to be better. It doesn't work because it's the programming. The programming they put in, it's a direct communication with Joe. Joe's not listening to you. It's listening to the most repetitive content. So you got to bring Rex back so you have the overall strength to resist. Strength train. Remove all toxins and poisons from your life in order to build physical strength. You want a one-stop book for physical strength and health? Read the book, How to Eat, Move, and Be Healthy by Paul Chek, or watch my program on how to overcome health-based self-sabotage. Start a side hustle, financial strength. Start a side hustle business immediately to start building your financial strengths. 3 options I recommend. Chris, you can send them. We have our Overcoming Self-Sabotage coaching school opening up November 14th. Paul Lindertz has a certification called Cancer Prevention and Reversal Coach. How many people have cancer? It's a great program. And then our friend, Dr. Gabe Roberts, has a holographic manipulation therapy. Start your business. I started my business. I had to take a $150,000 loan to start my business. Chris, what's the payment terms on my self-sabotage coaching school? It's like $127 a month for like 18 months or something.
Correct.
That's right. So if I had to spend 150 grand to start my first fitness club, and you could start your own online business for $2,000, what's stopping you? Why? It's because they programmed you to be afraid of business, to be afraid to be independent, to be afraid to give yourselves orders, and be afraid to have control in your own life. That's one of the main repetitive themes in all film, is that the rich guy's the jerk, the rich guy's the prick, the rich woman's like Cruella de Vil. It's better and more noble and more moral. You walk the high moral ground if you're poor, in poverty, or you struggle or in debt. It's a mind control program. There's no safety in being poor. There's safety. Hey, look, money doesn't buy you happiness, but neither does poverty. Start using your yeses and nos more logically to build mental strength. Mental strength. Start telling the government no. Start telling people that encroach on your safety, no, I'm not doing it. Your move. And start saying yes to healthier things, stopping your addictions, exploring the truth. Find truth tellers, find guys, find mentorship. They've shown that successful people always start with a mentor. Find a mentor. Your mentors will change, but find a mentor you can work with now. And when I say work with, just watch them. Listen to their podcasts, watch their videos. You'll mimic their strength. You'll mimic their mental strength, their physical strength, their financial strength. Start understanding that you have both God or good and the darkness inside of you. You have both. The energy that dominates your behavior is based on your food, your water, your thoughts, and what comes into your mind. They're putting darkness in your mind, poison in your food, poison in your water. Clean up to build spiritual strength and a connection with God, creator, life force, whatever you want to call it, on this planet. Ring the bell of goodness in your DNA. Change your vibration and your frequency by controlling and getting back in line with your natural design. Every chemical, every act of murder that you watch, did you know the children before they're out of grade school, in public school, out of grade 8, they would see 10,000 murders on TV. If you don't understand that that's going to ring a bell of darkness in your genetic spiraling code, because that's what your DNA is. It's a frequency modulator. And you're going to pick up a different signal if you're dark. Then you're going to be dark. Because this mimicking thing is not just your behavior. It's many other aspects of your body are designed to mimic, especially in frequency. Well, folks, so what does overcoming self-sabotage look like in real life after you reprogram daily with what I'm going to send you, what my team is going to send you? You want the real life explanation? I only tell people the truth. Let me tell you how this goes and how it went for me. Everybody's got a self-sabotage tool shed. No one hates the janitor. Everybody hates the CEO. There's more people at the bottom of the crab bucket. And if you're a non-threat, the bigger group is going to like you. Joe knows that. Stay a non-threat. Stay down. Trim your tall poppy. That's what the self-sabotage tool shed is for. I have one. Everybody's got one. And when you see the self-sabotage tool shed, it's like all the other tool sheds in Canada. We got the nails in at an angle. And in Canada, we got the 5 shovels because there's all like 5 different kinds of snow. You got the rake and the hose. And you got the hockey sticks and the hockey skates. And everything's got its own nail so that everything's off the floor. Self-sabotage tool sheds are exactly the same. They got the bag of weed on one of the nails, the bag of Coke on the next. They got the pornography channel on the next one, the ice cream, the negative Nelly thinking, the membership card to the itty bitty shitty committee where you gossip all day, the cell phone to scroll, the wine. People think red wine's healthy. Everything in there that keeps you an absolute human mess, that keeps you down, programmed into you, same modalities we already discussed here today. And your Joe doesn't care which whack-a-mole mallet you get off the nail and smash yourself over the head with. Joe doesn't care as long as you're mediocre, as long as you're underachieving, and as long as you're below average, you'll fit in with the rest of the underachieving mediocre hordes that are programmed to be there. Anybody who does this will close that shed and say, I'm going to take a crack at it. I'm like, good. You know what? I know as a coach how this goes, and that's what I'm going to tell you. So they close the shed. They put the lock on. The lock's on the clasp. It hits the shed. And I see the client running away from the shed, and I know what's coming, and I see them. And usually they get past the first weekend, and then they're a little bit of afraid because Joe's like, hey, what are you doing? You didn't drink. You didn't smoke. You're going to be better. Do you know how dangerous this is? And it's like an invisible bungee cord where one end of the bungee cord was nailed to the front of the shed, and then you had the other end of the bungee cord around your waist, and you're going out, you're running, and I know what's coming. I know it's coming. And it's on like on the 8th day after the weekend. They can't handle it. They can't be in better. It's too scary. Joe's not telling them that it's safe. It's safe to be better. No, it's not safe to be better. It's dangerous to be better. So the person has this invisible force. It's almost like the bungee gets really tight, like an elastic, and the person flies back into the shed. And I'm like, oh, ow, that looked like it hurt. They were flying, their feet were out, they smashed into the shed, they hit the shed with their back, they slide down the front. And then what happens is what I know is going to happen. The shed opens up and I'm like, shit, here it goes. And the weed bags are flying out, and the wine bottles and the cigarette packs. And you can hear the porn echoing through the shed. And you're like, they're right back at it. They're putting themselves down. They're wrecking themselves to fit in with the other wrecked people. They can't stand the scent of progression. But here's the thing. They already won. They put in 8 good repetitions into their neurological system. They got 8 reps under their belt. And I'm like, yes, we won. And it's going to come out later. It's a long-term goal sort of accomplishment system. And I got a contract with everybody listening to this right now. I got a contract with your body. And let me tell you about the contract. The next day, I'll ask you, how do you feel? And the person will say, oh my God, I feel like crap. I had 2 cigarettes. I felt like I smoked half a pack. I had 1 glass of wine. I felt like I drank the whole bottle. I did 2 lines of Coke. I feel like I did 3 bags. I smoked half a joint. I feel like I smoked 10. I feel terrible. And I'm like, that's the contract I got with your body. It hates. It's designed to be successful. It's trying to get a relationship with you going. It wants you to be better. I say, when did you feel better? And they say, I felt better when I was outside the shed. I said, go for it. Second run. Take a second run at it. So they get outside the shed. They put the clasp back on. They're going again. And the magical bungee cord has elongated a little longer now. They go out for 18 days. And then it gets tight. And I know what's coming. I'm like, 18, good work, 18 days. They fly back, feet off the ground. They go, whoa, right past me. I'm like, oh, that's going to hurt. They hit it again. The same thing happens again. Then they go out for 30 days. Then they go out for 50 days. How do you think I stopped drinking alcohol? It took me a whole year. I used to drink 15 martinis a night when I would drink, not every night, but when I would, it was like 12 to 15 martinis. And I kept getting less and less and less. And then I stopped. And it took time. And then there was a 9-year run where I didn't even take a sip of someone else's alcohol, even if they were like, you got to have this. It's unbelievable. And I'd still say no. But eventually what happens is that you go back and forth, hitting the shed, longer and longer durations outside the shed. That's when you're winning. Longer and longer durations outside the shed that you know you're winning. And then eventually your bungee cord breaks and it snaps, bang, and it falls to the ground. And then you will undo the bungee cord from your waist and you'll be like, I did it. And what you will realize, number one, that stress sort of brings you back to the wolf pack, because stressed animals sort of have the same neurological systems as being physically injured. Physically injured animals need the wolf pack to survive. So when you get stressed, you feel like you need to go back to the wolf pack. But when your bungee cord breaks, you come to the realization that you could go ahead on your own. You could, but you could also go back to the wolf pack as well. You have complete freedom. You could go back to the wolf pack, and instead of having a full bottle of Prosecco on Boxing Day, you could have half a glass and still blend in to your discretion. But you could also walk the path on your own where no one else is there to support you because you did the proper rite of passage from a child to an adult and learned to be an independent, sovereign, human adult in your own personal selfhood, which is what's sadly lacking today. Now, if you're back at the Self-Sabotage tool shed and I see you back there roasting hot dogs, you're mowing the grass, you're growing corn, you got a tent, I'll be like, look, you're back there too long. And if you are back there for that length of time where it somehow came to be your home again, where you're self-sabotaging and taking the whack-a-mole mallets and feeling more comfortable, smashing yourself over the head so you can live at the bottom of the crab bucket, well, I guarantee you're listening to the radio again. I guarantee you're watching movies. I guarantee you're watching TV. And I guarantee you're not doing your wall art exercises that my team will give you. And I guarantee you're not surrounding yourself with positive podcasts, positive even video casts. I guarantee it. And you're not doing your hypnotherapy that I gave you for my team. It's a war, and your soul is the prize that's being sought here on this planet. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's what it looks like in real time. I mean, I quit a lot of my addictions. I have a self-sabotage tool shed like everybody else, but I'm in there a lot less, like sometimes not at all, depending on what modality we're talking about. But when you know this information, your life will always get better. You will build the spiritual, the mental, the financial, okay, and the physical strength you need to build your best life. And that's what this is all about. Overcome your self-sabotage. Don't forget to email me and my team. Let's get going on your health destructive addictions, and let's work forward from there. I'm not signing off, but look, thank you for listening, and we'll do the question and answer period right now. Thank you very much.
I'm sure we have a lot of individuals who are excited to start asking some questions. So we'll go over to the gallery view style here. And there's two ways that you can ask a question. You can go down to your toolbar and you can click participants and you can click raise your hand. Or you can ask a question in the chat, whatever's easiest, and we'll take it in a priority.
Thanks, Tracy. I'm just reading some stuff flying up here. If anybody's got a cutout, they don't have questions. My email address is jason@freedomfromselfsabotage.com. And we'll start that tomorrow. I hope, thanks. Yeah. Great. People are liking it. So what kind of questions do we have, Chris?
Perfect. So no hands up yet. We just got
probably electroshocked everybody back into their chairs. That was the whole point, to show you how corrupt this system is, but don't let it corrupt you. Don't let it corrupt you. We need some leaders. We need some, we need people to lead by example, and we can't give them our money. This is where they're getting all their money to fund all their weird experiments and their weird agendas. They own the liquor companies. They own the tobacco companies. They own the weed companies. They own, they own all these, and it funnels our money toward them. That's where they're financing all of this. That's like, even if you drank 130 bottles of wine a year and you went down to 10, you're helping. You're so helping. Even if, and all the cocaine and all the fentanyl, that's all smuggled in by this group. Go look at the work of Mike Webb, or go look at the documentary called The Clinton Chronicles, or just email me and saying, show me that the CIA is smuggling cocaine in the United States. I'll prove it to you, and you just have to watch a couple of videos. Stop funding your own destruction, because that's what's happening when you go buy junk food. You go to McDonald's or Burger King, they're going to be the first ones to feed you the cricket burgers or the cricket hot dogs or the cricket McNuggets, because it's the same group. It's the same group all the time. So be very careful. Cut their money off.
It looks like we have some questions rolling in now.
Yeah.
Our first question is coming from the chat from Melinda, who asked, said that you wrote that sugar is one of the things that makes us more susceptible to influence or mind control.
Yeah.
Is that all sugar, maple syrup, fruits, natural sugars, anything?
Well, sugar's a big acid, right? So it's going to cause a lot, like, what sugar does to your teeth? So imagine it. I mean, that's enamel. It can rip apart enamel. That's how bad it is. So all carbs are sugars. It's just this extra quantity, this white sugar, this, this glucose, this fructose, it injures the body. So whether it's mercury teeth fillings, whether it's Teflon pans, all these chemicals damage the body. And if you study like trail footage of damaged or injured animals, they will always need the wolf pack. They can't survive on their own. They have no physical strength. Someone who's weak, like poisoned, are weak. And the bodyguard number 1 and bodyguard number 2, because they can assess the whole neurological and metabolic system, they know a polluted body is weak and has no ability to push back. So yes, sugar destroys the internal organs to the point where you're weaker. So Joe's philosophy of let's just be everybody's buddy, it's the safer card to play, as opposed to bodyguard number 1 saying, I'm just going to tell you no and deal with the consequences. Anything that destroys the body increases compliance of Joe, bodyguard number 2. That's why they got the mercury teeth fillings in you. That's why they spray pesticides on the food. That's why they hand out the birth control pills to the kids in high school. Anything, it doesn't matter what poison it is. To you, it looks different. To you, all the injectable medicine looks different. One has a Twin Rex name. The other one has HPV. Look at their ingredients, ladies and gentlemen. They're all the same. They're all there to intoxify your body, cause brain damage, throw Rex off his perch, and bring bodyguard number 2 to the forefront.
Perfect. Thank you. Our next question coming in via the chat asks, who would you consider to be a potentially good mentor?
Paul Chek. Paul Chek would be a great mentor. He's really good, and it depends. He's more of a balanced approach. But if you want an unbalanced approach, you want to be really rich, start hanging out, like watching Anthony Robbins videos, right? Because I tell people, do you want a balanced approach or do you want an unbalanced? Because if you really want to be wealthy, or if you want to get in super physical health, follow Paul Chek. He can help with the financial aspect as well, because he'll clear the mind up. But maybe always focus on your health first, because the toxins got to go. Like if you bring a polluted brain to a wealth fight, you'll always lose. You won't have any clue what's going on. Yeah. And that's why my steps, the first seminar I ever had, I think I made $16,000. And then like 4 years later, I made like 970,000 in a year. You take the steps, and the clean mind followed, like the wealth followed my clean mind.
Okay, thank you. Our next question is coming in from Marsha Lacour. So I'll ask you to lower your hand and you'll be able to ask your question.
Okay.
Okay, so I just want to make a comment. Jason, just a couple of points of observation to reinforce what you're talking about. We're talking about self-sabotage. I want to talk about self-sabotage of women. About 50 years ago, the average size in clothing for women was about a size 8. And then it went up to a size 12.
Yeah.
And then it was size 14. And right now, today, it's size 16 to 18.
Right.
When I went to school, there was no such thing as special education.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm dating myself now. And now we have probably about 20% of any student population under the umbrella of special education.
Absolutely. And it's none of their faults.
No. And then the other thing I want to say is, when I was growing up, we didn't have people that were overweight or people that were obese. It might be the odd person. I mean, if you take a picture of people on the beach 60 years ago, you didn't see people that were overweight. And now we have like probably half the population have a weight problem, if not more.
And that's because of the poison, because they're trying to poison you to get at your brain function. But one of the body's defense mechanism against poison is to dilute the poison and change its hormonal profile to enlarge itself with water retention and fat cell replication. Fat cells can replicate at any speed they want. That's what people who get liposuction don't understand. Fat cells can replicate at any time. So a polluted body holds more water to dilute the poison, and fat cells are very good jail cells for toxins. So the more they're trying to pollute you to screw up your brain function so that you can be more controlled, more easily controlled than planet mind control. But the side effect of poisoning you is the weight gain and the cellulite.
Yeah.
So you can see that they're getting what they want. It's just a side effect of the obesity. They're actually carrying around, they become water bags of toxins. You don't see obese people. You see that the environment is toxic and the body just thinks it's safer. Like if you're 100 pounds with 5 pounds of poison in you, if you go to 200 pounds, it's like half the toxicity per liter. So a bigger body is safer. I mean, the best solution for pollution is dilution. And that's why bodies react by gaining weight and holding more water when they're toxic.
The other thing I want to add too, I read something this week about men being obese is being classified as a mental illness.
No, being thin is classified as a mental illness.
No, but I heard being obese. I think I read that somewhere.
Well, anything to try and get you onto the behavioral medication, because they're the most toxic. I mean, Prozac is a derivative of fluoride, and fluoride causes major brain damage. Again, it's all about a mind control agenda. If anybody wants to understand what's going on, find Kathy O'Brien, Cathy O'Brien. Find Kathy O'Brien on Odyssey or on BitChute, put her name in, and she will explain what's going on today. She was in a mind control program at a very low level as a child, and she will tell you outright that they purposely targeted her brain function for better mind control efficiency.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. And there's some people asking about the school. If anybody wants to know more about the school, simply email me at jason@freedomfromselfsabotage.com. I'll send you an information package. And like I said, I mean, it's a cheap way to start a side hustle. Keep your own business that you got. I mean, whatever your job is right now, keep that job. But then you start a side hustle, maybe learning how to coach and learning how to give presentations like this and learning how to give group presentations. We go over all these ideas in the course. My courses are 75% business and 25% coaching, because if you're a good coach and no one knows about you, you don't know how to market, you're not going to do well. So I teach a lot of business philosophy in all my programs. Yeah, you need an additional revenue stream, Tracy. You do need something, because they're going to keep coming. And they're going to try and they're just going to try and hack off the bottom layers of the log and keep going up. But the more they go up, the more people awaken. So, and evil is generally stupid and low IQ. So we are dealing with an evil force. We're not dealing with evil people. So eventually evil hangs itself. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Thank you for saying I was. Yeah. Jazz, thanks for saying I was an exceptional mentor. But I sometimes I don't put out enough content, but if you get in the truth circle, you can go from mentor to mentor and really find your way, and you'll change. I used to follow Paul Chek for 10 years, not 10 years, like 10 years ago, really intensely for 2 or 3 years. I let him go. I followed other mentors, and then now I'm back to Paul. You'll always come back and see what the people you respect are doing inside a situation, a societal situation like this, and just kind of say, what are you doing? How can I mimic your greatness?
Absolutely. Thank you. It looks like our next question coming in via the chat is from Melinda, who asked, in the Star Spangled Banner subliminals, why would they want us to believe in God?
They want us, because it's an association trick, they want to believe that the government is God. So they want to hijack the thousands of years of programming to honor God and then take God out and put the government in. That's why in these lockdowns, the churches were closed, the liquor stores were open. There's a big push by this evil force to eliminate God for many reasons. People who generally believe in God don't put up with this bullshit. They do today because people have lost their way, but in the past you can't. Bodyguard number one was really, in conventional religious circles, bodyguard number one is pretty strong. We're very far away from conventional religion right now, but if you go to the Mennonites, or like when you find people who don't fix their gaze and don't pollute, and the government tells them what to do, you're just going to see the very good use of the word no. And if you kill me, you kill me. Because they also have spiritual strength, knowing that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. They know they're coming back. It may be. I mean, they know, we won't even get into it, but they have a belief in God that God will take care of them.
I'm not sure if you may have much information on this, but someone has asked if you know much about it. What are your thoughts on Kangen water machines? KNG?
I like those water machines as long as there's a certain filter to make sure, because the Kangen water machines only work if there's some minerals in the water. You have to be electrified. So you have to have, there's a filter you can get that hits the water before it goes into the machine and takes out all the pollutants from the water. That's when I would suggest that machine. Get that filter and then the machines at the same time.
Okay, thank you. Our next raised hand comes from Alicia. So I'll ask you to unmute and you'll be able to ask your question.
Hi, Jason. It's Alicia in Toronto. I followed you for years and years. Love everything that you're all about, and looking
Thank
forward to this session in November. I do have a question. I have a question on something you sent in the summer, and it was a link. It was a 5.5 hour link on the occult. You may or may not remember it, of one of the X Factor winners, and then he was talking about
Childs.
the Freemasons and
Mhm.
all that, and it was very arresting. I lost all the blood in my body because I was very much into New Age and so many things esoteric, and then come to discover that the Freemasons had created New Age. So on that platform here, I just wanted to, it may be another time that comes into play, but with Paul, the one with the the cancer convention coach, Paul Check, they're all very much, and possibly yourself, I don't know, into New Age things. And by the way, I love Paul. I've, all of that, but I'm trying to come to a place of peace on this whole New Age thing and how much has been created by Freemasons and how much we should be looking into that in some of the
they just want to create some space and time where you're not dedicated to learning about the basis of religion or the sort of foundations of religion. So a lot of people claim the New Age movement is that was invented so that you could do some evil things on a vibratory level. But I just believe it's about putting you in a different direction, which I don't think is evil at all. But I think if you want to balance things out, you should start investigating the battles between good and evil and find some sort of biblical scholar to help guide you with what's going on today. Yeah. A lot of people have turned back to religion trying to find the answers here. At least I have as well. And as for New Age stuff, I don't practice too much New Age stuff, but I'm aware of it because people use it all the time. It's not like I honor it or anything. But if someone has fallen off the path, like myself, I've fallen off the path and fell for some of the subconscious mind control tricks of the cult, where I've turned away from religion, but I'm turning back to it now, the foundations of it and some of the ancient stories. I hope that makes some sense.
It does. And I too am doing the same thing. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll be doing a podcast soon on what I've been finding out about what's going on. And I just don't know if people will be ready for it, but I'll slow drip it over a couple podcasts. Try to make it funny.
We'll insert our IVs in readiness.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, but there's some weird stuff happening. And I think it needs to be explained.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Fantastic. Thank you for your question, Alicia. Our next question coming in via the chat, which I'm sure maybe many people are experiencing. What do you suggest for people who are emotionally overwhelmed with all the corruption and work it'll take to overcome? I know single parents who say they don't have the energy. Thank you.
Yes, I mean, I completely understand that. So you would start small. Single parents, they don't have a lot of time. They don't have sometimes they don't have the financial resources. So in situations like that, the best thing to do is gain a bit of financial strength by removing your budget that you have for killing yourself. Like some of my friends, they'll have a Starbucks a day. It's like $5. And over the whole month, that's like $150. They spend some other monies, maybe a bottle of wine 2 times a month. So just take away the things that inhibit your brain function. And by taking away, you also gain the financial strength. So start there. That's the best baby step. Stop poisoning yourself and start putting money and energy into your own life. That's the probably best way to start. And then with bodyguard number 1, Rex, sort of on conscious evaluation of the environment, you're probably not going to, Joe's famous for stepping in one, bucket of shit and then jumping back out into 2 more. So if you get Rex back on, you'll get less trouble in your life. You'll make better decisions. It'll be easier to override Joe's necessity to fit in with the herd. So that's what I would suggest is the bare bottom. Stop. If you have a budget where you kill your body and injure your body and poison your body, whatever those addictions are, you probably won't be able to stop them unless you do our hypnosis and wall art, because the repetitions in that direction are so strong. So write me, tell me your addictions, and we'll start working on getting rid of those addictions. Turn your radio off in your car, stop watching TV, help Rex take his rightful place in the protection of you.
Thank you so much. It looks like we only have 2 questions remaining. I'll ask Sherrod to unmute and you can ask your question.
Sherrod, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing, Jason?
Good to see you.
You remember me, buddy? All right.
I remember you.
Oh, right on, man.
Yeah.
From February, right on.
Yeah.
I've been kind of taking in a lot of your content since then. Like kind of binging on it a little bit. So I really appreciate your, everything that you're putting out there. So my question is about social media.
Yeah.
Because in 2020, I tried to use it a lot, like Facebook and whatnot. I tried to use it to wake people up. And it's funny, like you use that Captain America frame, right? That's one thing. That's just one of the things I would post on people. I was just like, hey, are y'all in the event 201? I mean, are y'all catching on here? Like that was in the heat of COVID. I was like, are y'all catching on? And maybe there's some things being planted ahead of time, and people just kind of didn't really register, I don't think, but I tried. So I guess my thought about that, like I don't do social media as much, at least not Facebook, because there's just nothing happening there. So it's like, I still feel like, is there even a window to wake people up? Or what is, like, social media can be a benefit, but it also can be a total time drag.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it's like, I want to go on there to see what's going on. And I use it to get, to get information from the truth community on there as well. So there's good information to be pulled, and then there's trash. And then it's like, can you use it to even wake people up, or should you just worry about communicating with people who are like-minded? I just can't figure out how to navigate social media these days.
Well, I like your approach where you said you're asking questions. That's the easiest approach. That's probably why you didn't get like any violent pushback, is instead of making statements, you ask questions. Like, is anybody catching on? It looks like there's something pre-planned. Is anybody else seeing that? That if you're going to go try to wake people up, do it with questions like that, kind of like you're open to be persuaded either way. It's not so offensive to the viewer's psyche. A lot of people say it's too late to wake anybody up. If they haven't been awakened by now, there's probably no chance. So a lot of truthers are just focusing on business empowerment, the mental health, the mental strength, the spiritual strength, in trying to go inward now and find like minds and find people that are really moving ahead and cutting the cords with the old world and the old people. Because if they haven't really awakened by now, I mean, let's be honest, if you're not awake by now, they probably are. They might be too spiritually or physically or financially weak to admit that they've got conned. But either way, try to find strength, find strong mentors in those 4 categories. A lot of people are even giving courses now online, paid courses about how to go gray, how to get off social media, how to hide amongst the sheep so that no one's going to identify you as a troublemaker. So there's always a business opportunity in everything. But I still try and wake people up just because I'm angry, because I just have a lot of angry strength that I still have to give out. And but I'm upping my game. That's why I'm making the documentary. I'm tired of preaching to the same 150 or 200,000 people. So with the documentary, I'm going to try and take it to 5 million or 10 million people and wake them up in it's going to be this format with all this information, but it's going to be like in movie quality. No one coming in and off, getting into our conference and all the flashes on the screen. It's just, if you're going to wake people up, go big or go home, because there's not a lot of time left.
Right. That's not.
I'm going big or we're going to do a documentary, and we'll see what happens. Maybe I'll social credit myself into zero and have to eat my own toes to survive. But at this point, I'm spiritually okay with getting blasted off the planet. I'm okay with all my fears coming true. That's spiritual strength. Face your fears. Ask yourself, what's the biggest fear? Oh, I'm going bankrupt, or I'm totally alone, or I live on the street. Face that fear, and you'll find it'll pass through you, and you'll get more relaxed, because you'll see that you can face any fear. It's not so bad.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah, I totally relate to trying to keep my head down a little bit, trying to sort of dumb myself down to fit in with the crowd a little bit more these days. But by the same token, I'm pissed too, and I don't want to. I'm still pissed. I don't want to just not express that. So
yeah, go big or go home. Maybe have an online conference and give it for free, and I'll even send you my PowerPoint if you want, and hijack my PowerPoint, put in some of your own, have a free conference, maybe even have an in-person conference at a nice hotel, invite people for free, and pay the $100 and the $300 to rent the room, and do the world some service. Whatever, go big or go home.
Mm-hmm. All right. Terrific. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, fantastic. Thank you. Our next question, coming in via the chat from Julie, has asked, I know that you watch movies to teach others how they are programming people. How do you protect yourself from the brainwashing of movies? She got a massive headache. Yeah, within watching our Netflix video. So she was curious on your insight.
You can't. And even like Noah Harari came on lately, and some reporter, I don't know if people know who Noah Harari is, but please look him up. Yuval Noah Harari. He works for the World Economic Forum. Some lady went off script with his interview, because they're all scripted for mind control reasons. But they asked him, do you play on your cell phone? He's like, absolutely not. He says, I don't look at my cell phone at all. I'm not powerful enough to override the algorithms. It'll put me under the spell. And Bill Gates doesn't let his kids play with the computers, and Stephen Jobs never had his kids with the iPads. So I've done Illuminati movie reviews or mind control movie reviews. I've probably done 20 movies. I haven't done one in a while, but they're very dangerous. And I can't even protect myself. I just know if I do watch a movie, it might be one every 6 months, because I have a couple friends in the truth community say, look, you got to watch this, you got to watch that. I appease them because I hang out with them, being part of their tribe. I want something to talk about. But I'm always looking beyond the actors. I'm looking in the background, trying to pick out the hacks they're trying to throw into my mind, like the Sons and the Howie Mandel hack. And I'm also looking for the patterns, the overall patterns in the films.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much for that answer. Our next raised hand comes from Ariane. So I'll ask you to unmute and you can ask your question.
So I suppose it's not. Hi.
Hey, Ariane, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good.
So I guess it's not so much a question as I just noticed that, and I don't want to point anyone out. So I just noticed that some people are feeling overwhelmed. And I know the first time that I viewed one of your talks, I was definitely overwhelmed about everything in my life. And so I just wanted to kind of more of a testimonial that the more you do clear yourself of the poisons, and the longer you get out of the shed with coffee or with television, the more that the stress and the anxiety will naturally just drift away. And I thought that was the most amazing thing when I started cutting the alcohol out, the television out, especially the television and the TV. Television and movies. And also I was reading a lot of junk literature. I hate to admit it, but I was reading chick lit. And so as soon as I got rid of that and realized that I was being controlled in the terms of wanting the Barbie dream house and the Ken doll boyfriend and all that bullshit. When I stopped reading the books that are just junk literature for my brain, when I stopped watching the movies, a lot of that feeling that the whole entire sky was going to cave in on me in the mornings just disappeared. So I guess I wanted to say that, especially for, I noticed a question in the chat about what do you do in the anxiety levels. So I think it's also just taking 2 seconds every day and celebrating however long you were able to get out of the shed. And because a lot of it is toxic self-talk. And to be able to just give yourself a nice pat on the back and give yourself a hug. Like, wow, I only had 1 coffee today instead of 5. At one point, I was doing 11-hour shifts at the airport. And so I was up to 8 coffees a day. So I figured, wow, when I made it to 1 coffee a day, and then I made it to decaf, and then hot chocolate, which was a bit back in the shed, and then to nothing. So I think it's a lot of just try to celebrate those little successes and find something that you want more than that addiction. So
beautiful.
I wanted my
that's
freedom.
So well said. Very well said. And one of the mind control tactics is to overload us with all this information. So take a break when you have to, or focus it down to, like, instead of going to 10 truth or sites, focus it down to 1, and don't take in so much negative information, especially if you want the financial strength, the spiritual strength, the mental strength. Focus on only positive. I mean, if the world burns down, or there's a mushroom cloud over the horizon the next day, like, really, like, just try to make your life powerful, so that if something bad does happen, you have the strength pillars, the 4 strength pillars, to deal with it. Like, whether it's an earthquake here, tsunami, nuclear blast, food shortages, cricket infestation, or trying to make us eat the cricket burgers, I'll be able to handle it better if I'm strong physically. I have some money in the bank. If I'm strong, it doesn't matter what they throw at me. Should be able to do really good compared to the average person. And that's all I need to know, to have the confidence that I will be fine. And if they get me, they get me. There's the spiritual strength. I don't need to live till I'm like 95 in the jungle to believe I contributed here. I don't.
Great, thank you. Great answer. It looks like our last question is, how can we support your documentary, and when do you plan on releasing it?
Oh, if you've came and bought the full access pass, or you've bought the single purchase here today, or you're going to come into my coaching school in November 14th and start your side hustle, you are supporting it right there. We will, when we make the documentary, after we launch the school and get all the students settled, we're going to start making the documentary right away. We're going to ask for sponsors, main sponsors, and basically, if they do sponsor us, they'll get all our full access pass anyway. And if it, like, for basically, we'll have a tier. If someone wants to specifically be mentioned in the documentary, we would be very proud to be a co-contributor with anybody that would want their name in the credits, because this one, it's going to be good. It's gonna, yeah, I'll be running from the cabal for the rest of my days. So, and that's okay. No problem. I don't care.
Great, amazing. Thank you so much. So I think that's the end of our questions today.
Yeah. Well, thank you everybody for attending. Chris, you can unmute them, and we'll say the old confusing million-person goodbye.
Thank you very much.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, Jason.
Chris,
Jason.
thank you.
Take care.
Fantastic.
Bye.
Take care.
you.
Thank you, Jason.
Bye.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
You rock.
Thank
Always
you.
a pleasure. Thank you.
Hi,
Thank you.
Jason. Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a nice evening, Jason.
Jerry, thanks.
Yes, sir. I got your plant back in there.
Good. Keep it alive.
I will.
Thanks, buddy.
Remember,
I
you're
can
making
do
a
it.
difference. You make such a difference. Thank you.
Well, thank you it's always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. It makes me very satisfied inside to help other people.
Thank you, Jason.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care.
Thank you, Jason.
Thank you.
Look forward to November.
Yeah, thank you. Love to see everybody in November.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
For
know
sure.
that presentation would have really helped understand why people are self-sabotaging. So
Yeah.
yeah, you
When
gotta-
does the course actually start?
it'll start, Chris, probably 2 weeks after we open. Like we'll sell for a week and then it'll open the next week, right? Yeah, probably November, like late November, not into December, somewhere in late November. The school, like the opening ceremony, we have the opening ceremony where I come in and tell people how to navigate the library, how the course goes, what we're going to do, how you get certified, and answer all the questions. I guess I'm the dean of the school. I guess that's my job.
I was imagining a little more like cartoonish pomp and circumstance when you said opening circumstance.
It's opening day. Yeah. We try to get away from the university college opening days. Yeah. Because with the opening days where I went to school, you just get drunk. I don't think we're going to be doing any of that.
No initiation.
Yeah. No initiation, no frats, no sororities.
Frosh week.
Yeah. No frosh week where you just, you can tell why they used to make the people drink, right? So that their brains get damaged and so they believe everything the university tells them. I was one of those people, so I can actually speak to that.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Scary.
Yeah. Thanks, everybody. So what I'm going to do now, Chris, I'm going to go 10 as my reward for a good talk.
Enjoy. I hope to join you in the near future.
Oh, yeah, baby. It's the best out here. I love it. I love it. Okay, but I'll see everybody in Canada back at Christmas too. So thanks very much. Thank you for listening. Email me anytime, jason@freedomfromselfsabotage.com. If you got to get a hold of Chris at freedomfromselfsabotage.com. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for buying any of my products at any time. Helps me live my dreams and helps other people become better. It's all a game of baby steps. Thanks very much. Have a great day.
Great talk.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.
Chris.